All right, that pause you saw there, that wasn't the video freezing. That was Antonio Tajani staring at Nigel Farage. And we will be having the EU Parliament President live a little bit later on. But first, let's talk about everything we saw there. Gabrielle, as you were watching, you were shaking your head, you were putting your arms in the air. What was it like earlier inside there?
Yeah, I was totally surprised to hear what Mr. Kamal was saying, the leader of the ECR from Great Britain, because his words to bring together socialism or democratic socialists and social democrats together with nationalists and socialists, national socialists, it's incredible. And saying this is a part of the left ideology. Then I have to say, and I said it also in the discussion as when I had the speech or so, you have to learn from the history that in the ppast it was not the same. That it was it's a big.
But you were angry.
Yes.
You were angry.
Yeah, totally. Because you can't say that social democrats, the democratic socialist, I am a democratic socialist, that we have as a kind of ideology, the nationalist socialism or so. This is it's wrong. It's totally wrong. It's a kind of a way to discriminate us and to say, look also
Stephen,
to what is going now.
You disagree?
Yeah, I think. Unfortunately, Gabrielle and many in the chamber are misunderstanding the point that Mr. Kamal was making, and many of people like myself will argue the same. We are in a different time. Let's get that back. We cannot take away the fact that in history, National Socialism was a form of socialism.
No,
that is a historical
never,
element. And I am someone who has studied history, worked on history as well as
me
law.
Too.
And you may not accept that as a principle. Some of the founding language that was used in National Socialism. Now, of course, democratic socialism, which Gabrielle and others, is different. So the point is, in that debate, someone like myself, who is a conservative, who has what is deemed, and I don't believe we have a right-wing, left-wing ideology anymore, is right-wing, we're attacked. But of course, in the past, the left also had those who were aggressive.
But what I'm seeing now, even just between the two of you right now, very passionately disagreeing with each other. Before the show, we were talking about divisions. You mentioned divisions, fractious divisions. Is this the underlying tone now in Europe? Just division.
I was surprised that our British colleagues don't know enough about European history and the fight of social democrats, of left people against the fascism. And the fascism was called, they named themselves as national socialists, and that had nothing to do with the fight of left people, communist people, social democrats people, Jewish people against the fascism. Look to that, what was written on the misusing of languages as a sort of the language of
we can talk about we can talk about history, and both of you have differing views. But you were talking to me earlier about how you felt the UK was being viewed now by the 27 remaining countries.
Yeah, I think so. And what we're saying is Gabrielle and I are discussing this, and we can disagree in a calm and nice way. But what I'm seeing in that chamber at the moment, not only in this Strasbourg, but in the previous two Strasbourgs now, is a very strong breakdown in terms of the language. It's not just the words that are saying, it's the tone and the movement of the body language that you see between them. And the way Marcus Weber and Verhofstadt are being much more hostile. But we're throwing in people like the
Is that genuine? Is it genuine? Or
I think it is
trying to get headlines?
No, I think Verhofstadt always likes to get a bit of headlines, but I genuinely think now that there is a hostility there towards some of those who have a different stance, particularly in the United Kingdom. And we're feeling that. We certainly feel
Is there hostility right now?
Yes, of course it's there. But if we don't respect our history, our self-understanding, our political culture, and what we are fighting now for, if we don't respect each other, then this will be the result. And one of the questions is, if you are speaking about social nationalism or national socialism, then you totally ignore the fight against fascism, and that we have
now. It's a point that you have made.
that we have now
Right.
in Germany and other countries, naming fascists, naming themselves as
I think there
national
were
socialists.
MEPs, on both sides of
And
the
killing
spectrum.
people. Killing people in
indeed,
this
very,
name.
very passionately talking about this subject. My colleague Darren McCaffrey, our political editor, he had been talking, reaching out to people in this building, trying to see, what the mood is like. Let's cross over to you, Darren. What have MEPs been talking about? What happened this morning? It was quite riveting what we saw.
Yeah, it really was, and there was a combination, I think, in many regards of anger, fury and outrage from many MEPs about Kamal Saeed's comments. Many thought it was beyond the pale, not least of all, I think, Franz Timmermans, the Vice President of the Commission, who said that, essentially called him an idiot at one stage. Guy Verhofstadt waded in as well, saying it was an insult to all those social democrats who had fought against the Nazis. And Udo Bullmann said it was an awful thing to say, saying, of course, that many social democrats had voted against Hitler in the Reichstag. I think in many regards, though, Tessa, this is a reflection of the increased tension we're seeing between essentially the mainstream parties here in the European Parliament and populists, and that tension is only likely to increase with the increased number of populists after the next election here in the Parliament next May. In addition to that, we see the continued sensitivity about, unsurprisingly, about the issue of Nazism, its role in history, and I think that again is a reflection of it, not least of all because we see images coming from Germany and elsewhere of the rise of the very far right. That is not to say, of course, the fury was confined to those who found Saeed Kamal's comments insulting. It was also on the other side as well, not least of all from Nigel Farage, who found himself at the centre of it all. And I caught up with him just after that debate had ended.
The President of the Parliament tried to calm it all by saying, well, anyway, the important thing to remember is that Nazism and communism fell because of the European Union. Well, I couldn't help myself. I mean, obviously I laughed, but I mean, not out loud, just a little snigger. And he lost his rag. It was as if there's trouble in the class. Like, it's always that naughty boy Farage at the back. So he started screaming at me, telling me that I was a supporter of dictatorship. I mean, quite bizarre stuff. So I did come back to him and say, well, actually, you can believe what you want, but rewriting history is not that clever. And quite how Nazism fell because of the European Union is beyond me.
I think ultimately, Tessa, many voters, many people who pay these MEPs' wages will be looking at what's happened today, thinking it's a rather archaic argument, and that ultimately their representatives would probably be talking about something other than, was Hitler a socialist, someone on the far left or the far right?
All right, thank you for that. Darren McCaffrey, political editor. Now, one of the voices at the center of this morning's debate is here with us live in the studio. European Parliament President Antonio Tajani is joining us. Thank you very much for being on Rob Politics.
Thank you for the invitation.
Yeah, now, we saw you this morning. You were very angry. What was going on there? What was going through your mind? You were staring at Nigel Farage.
Yes, we need to respect our values. When I say, thanks to the European Union, we have peace in Europe. The European Union is the end of the communism and the Nazism. Because for us, as European, this is a big problem, Nazism and communism. A lot of people killed. And the reaction of Mr. Farage, ha 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 ha. We need to respect our values. Also, if you are against the European Union, we need to respect. I respect the Union Jack, the United Kingdom, I respect everyone. In this parliament, we need to respect the values and the rules. It's possible to be against the European Union, but we need to respect the other's opinion. I respect the people in favor of Brexit. I am against, but I respect. My reaction is not ha 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 ha. For this is not a circus. This is the European Parliament. We need to respect. If Mr. Farage wants to live in a circus, this Parliament for me is not a circus.